Now we have come to the end of the questions. If you haven't already done so, play back the questions of step 2 and one by one use those questions to formulate answers that will address the problematic situation that you have identified in step 1. Once done, you are ready for the 3rd step of this game strategy, and this step is called adjusting perspective. Let me start by saying that being the equaliser, as in someone that can easily flip a negative into a positive, has got me through some seriously dark days. When my entire world had burned to the ground, the equaliser questions were the ladder that climbed me out from the rock bottom. Even today, when life does occasionally throw some negative crap my way, before it has a chance to stick, I'm quick to become the equaliser and readjust my perspective. Because the reality is that none of us will avoid the tragic events of reality. Misfortune can arrive after one bad decision. Misadventure is only one footstep in front, and the heartache of loss is only one phone call away. And the unexpected and undesired changes that will arrive in life are likely to catch one off guard and throw one off balance. We therefore must be prepared to adjust and adapt our perspective to suit this changing reality. Otherwise, we will suffer the pains of a reality that is moving and rubbing up against our fixed perspective. Therefore, your ability to accommodate change, then easily resolve and recover from situations, to let go of the past and then move on, correlates with your ability to adapt your perspective, which means that the quicker that you can catch yourself having a down moment, when you realize that you have descended into negative thinking and feeling, that you now have the tool, or the questions rather, to quickly shift your perspective to a better outlook. The same mindfulness applies when you interact with pessimistic friends and toxic people, because through emphatic transmission and without realizing it, we do passively absorb negative energy from others. What they say and how they act can affect the way we think and feel. However, with your newfound equalizing powers, you can easily diffuse any negativity that comes your way by choosing to grab the frisbee and launch it back with a positive spin. You can use those equalizer questions to always remain on the top of your game, even when those around you are flagging and dragging themselves through the dirt with their stinking thinking. Even when you are faced with a negative reality that is woven in fact and supported by evidence, you can equalize your perspective to see the good within the bad. So for example, one could be standing in the front of a mirror that reflects back a poor image, zooming in on that flabby waistline, or feeling tainted because of a physical defect or blemish. And of course, what we focus on grows. It grows within the mind as a problem, as something that we feel ashamed of or repelled by. But no matter what card that we are all dealt with in life, there is beauty to be found in the beast. And listen, I do speak from experience. I have front teeth that are crooked. I am losing the hair on the back of my head. I've got a birthmark just down there on my pelvis. I've got a scar beside my eye, and I've got some psychological wounds from my past. But I don't focus on them. I don't look in the mirror and pull myself apart. Instead, I choose to focus on my strengths, my positive attributes, my talents and skills, and I make these shine so bright that those defects pale insignificant. So if there is something about you that you wish you never had, accept it, own it, then equalize it to appreciate it. Then refocus your attention on the positive aspects of who you are, which, incidentally, is what you are going to do in a major way when you play the next mind game. But for now, just know this. The equalizer questions are the instant remedy to end suffering. We suffer when clinging on to the negative beliefs that we've associated to situations. We suffer because we focus on the negative. So whenever a situation has left you feeling disappointed, betrayed, resentful, angry, guilty, hurt, or shameful, become the equalizer to upgrade your perspective with a positive frame. That's because the equalizer questions asked at the right moment will dissolve a problem and prompt a better way forward, helping you to cope with any situation, to persist in the face of adversity and progress with confidence towards a better future. And you will be amazed at how fast your energy, attitude and viewpoint shifts with the equalizer questions. So for this third step, I want you to now review any other negative judgments, assumptions and conclusions that you have made about past or present situations. I want you to think about where there is unresolved conflict, where there is a situation in your life that has or still is causing you to suffer. Do it now. Pause the video and think of 1, 2 or more situations where you have formed a negative viewpoint about this area of your life, and then write them down into detailed statements. Then utilize the transcendent power of the equalizer questions to process and resolve these situations so that you are instilled with optimism and harmony. Once done, then give yourself the gift of abundant thought power and rehearse the equalizer questions to your memory. Condition the unconscious aspect of your mind with those questions so that they become a new conditioned response, where you gain the efficient and effective skill of optimistic thinking or optimistic questioning. Mindfulness is also the key to this equalizer mind game. Become more aware of your thought process during social interactions. Try taking a healthy pause before you respond to people in conversation. Allow for the impulsive reaction of conditioned thoughts to arise inside your mind without you actually engaging with them. Then, if you have memorized at least some of those equalizer questions, you can respond with an optimistic viewpoint. Furthermore, when you do become the equalizer, you will cultivate a positive feedback loop that attracts into your field of vision the resources, the information, and the people that validates and supports your new uplifted vibe, which works on the principle of as within, so without. And also, remember that statements close the mind and questions open the mind. Now you're ready for the fourth step of this mind game strategy. And in this fourth step, you will design future scoping questions. I want to start by asking you the question, what is the worthiest future that you can dare to dream of? Whatever it may be for you, dare to dream often. That's because when you envisage the most magnificent future that aligns with your true nature, and there is absolute clarity and certainty on what that future is, you will call forth the driving impulse of deeper intelligence to manifest it. And when you align that future to making a virtuous contribution to the people you love and care for and the wider community, the future then becomes a worthwhile venture. That's because a person with virtuous intention will always feel compelled to do the greatest thing to help others, where you will build a network of people that come together with positive values, where your network then becomes your net worth. Not only that, working towards a future that manifests your dream outcomes is what gets you through those inevitable down days. You know, those awful days where you just feel sick and tired with life, where you feel totally disenfranchised by the ongoing battles, upsets, lack of progress, and losses that can make reality at times seem unbearable, where the will to carry on is often tested. Which brings me on to this. The willpower that is summoned from within can be measured by the worthiness of that which tests the will to live. The will to live needs something to exercise its willpower. Willpower needs something to live for, to fight for, to strive for. The size and strength of willpower does correlate with the ambitions that one sets. The magnitude of the ambitions that we set will determine how enthusiastic and motivated that we are for the game of life. Without a worthy ambition, we have a worthless ambition. Worthless ambition is what derives from a miscarriage of willpower. A miscarriage of willpower takes place when the innate drive and desires for life have been co-opted by and misdirected towards activities that offer quick and easy pleasure and entertainment, or when we are engaged with superficial and materialistic activities that have no investment in a rewarding future. In other words, if the only ambition we have is to that which is meaningless, mundane, or materialistic, then we cultivate little real self-worth. Given that none of us are getting out of this reality alive, and that we only have this one shot at life, then it makes absolute sense to aim for the most worthwhile future that we can possibly imagine. So, have you ever seriously questioned the potential of your future? Have you even dared to ask for something of much greater worth? If you haven't, then you can unlock your greatest future potential by asking future scoping questions. Future scoping questions are questions that presuppose we are going to arrive at a desirable future destination. Future scoping questions help us to project the mind into the future, into the past distance, and to imagine how future scenarios will play out. Future scoping questions demand answers that will make the impossible seem possible, and they define the future with more clarity and detail. So, for example, here is a future scoping question that I designed to elicit the answers of a greater future that aligns with my authentic purpose, my true nature. Here is the question: how do I touch the hearts, minds, and souls of millions of people worldwide, enlighten them with my wisdom and skills, and encourage them to live with love, truth, and intelligence, where I contribute immense value to society and get equally rewarded for my efforts? Now that's a humdinger of a question. And each time I ask myself that question, the more I realize that I actually need to up my game with new experiences, knowledge, and skill sets to become more productive and creative with solutions and platforms in which to fulfill its obligation. That one question for me has triggered a sequence of creative initiatives, such as writing books, producing self-development programs, and a fully immersive live event to implement my wisdom and teachings to people directly. Furthermore, it has prompted me to create a grassroots charity organisation. That one question alone has expanded my horizons beyond the limited perception of me into the greater awareness of what I can do for the greater we. My self-doubts, fears, insecurities, and perceived limitations, they pale insignificant to a future that is far superior than my personal inconveniences that I have to go through to achieve it. That one question has radically shifted the way that I see my future and inspired me in countless ways to manifest its outcome, to the degree that my future is now mapped out for at least the next 3 decades. That one question has prompted me to take quantum leap actions into new fields of research and expertise that before I even answered that question were not even on my perspective radar. Also, at the end of each year, I contemplate my future 5, 10, and in sometimes 20 years down the line by asking different future scoping questions that refine both my short-term and long-term goals. By thinking ahead, I get to preview and then crystallize my dreams. And when I expand my timeline by, say, 20 years, I then realize just how much time I really do have to manifest those big outcomes, because a hell of a lot, can be accomplished within a decade or 2. And because my future has so much worthwhile promise, that its achievement has become the incentive to not get sucked into those easy distractions in life. When I do occasionally find myself slipping into unproductive modes, I immediately realize that every moment I'm not working on my future, I am reliving the past. And the past is a holding cell for unactualized dreams. Saying that if you don't ask for what you truly want from this life, then you definitely won't get it. So always remember, ask and ye shall receive. Therefore, if you ask better questions, you will receive better answers. If you ask problem-solving questions, you will receive solution-based answers. If you ask future scoping questions, you will receive the answers of what's possible for you down the road. If you ask for something of greater worth, then you will receive the inspiration from within to achieve it. So I want you to decide today that you will ask for something greater and worthier. Unlock your ambition with questions that presuppose that you can play a bigger, brighter, and better game. And I will see you in the next and final mind game of this program.